everybody, glad to have you with me today. I'm joining you barefaced for this video because I am going to be doing a full application and review on the new Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. I recently picked this up as part of a pretty big haul from Revolution's main site. There are things on that site that are not on Ulta's website, like quite a few products there, and so there were a lot of things I wanted to try. If you're interested in a haul, let me know. I even picked up a couple of skincare items, and then this past week I go ahead and am sent from Revolution the foundation and the whole skincare line. So please let me know what you're interested in. I've already heard a lot of requests for the foundation, so that's what I'm going into first, and that's what I've been playing with a little bit lately. But I paid $12 for this foundation, so I feel like if you were to go and shop for a foundation in Walmart or Walgreens, let's say, that's going to be on the higher end of your drugstore price range, $12 for a foundation. It is vegan, cruelty-free, paraben-free, and oil-free, and the format of this, it's in a big frosted glass jar. I mean, it really resembles the look of the concealer, just blown up in size. Also, I believe they've come out with a super size of their concealer too. But this just feels big, like in the hand, this bottle of foundation, which, did I say I'm F7? That's the shade I chose, and it seems to be working well. It might be just a tinge dark, but blended out all over the skin, I feel like it really looks right. It's 0.8 fluid ounces. What kind of baffled me was that my Maybelline Superstay is actually a 1 full fluid ounce. And I feel like 1 fluid ounce for foundation is kind of standard most of the time. So I was surprised that this was a little less, but you know, packaging can be a little deceiving, you know. Even when you look at the bottom of the Superstay, you've got some thick glass surrounding that foundation in there. But I am going to make a lot of comparisons today with the Superstay because this is kind of like my favorite drugstore liquid foundation, and I think there are a lot of similarities. I think depending on your preferences, there will be things that one or the other does better, so I'll definitely be touching on that throughout. For example, one thing to note is the packaging. You've got a massive, I'd have to call it a buck foot, not a doe foot applicator here. That's big. And I think some people like that, some people don't. A lot of people are probably buying this product for personal use, only going to use it on themselves, you know. But it does sort of present that issue with keeping sanitary, and you're going to swipe that across your face and then put it back in the tube. Again, you could always swipe some off onto like a little palette or something like that. But I really think a pump is my favorite delivery method, you know, to get your foundation out, because I can always sort of rely on the fact that, okay, I use a full pump most of the time, or maybe just a little bit more than that. I can be consistent with it, and I know the look that I like, and I can end up with that every time. And when you're going in and out with just a doe foot, like, I'm sometimes losing track of the amount of product I'm actually getting on my face. But again, they call it full coverage foundation. They say that it's lightweight yet buildable coverage in 24 skin true shades. They describe it as a demi-matte finish. I was just gonna say matte, but they go on to call this a real skin finish that diffuses blemishes and uneven skin tone. And for veil-like coverage with this foundation, they say use it with a damp beauty sponge. I'm going to use it with a brush today because I really like to exhibit a full coverage claim if that's being made. And so what I've got on now is my Bobbi Brown, my vitamin-enriched face base, which I mentioned in my 5 game-changing products. I love what that does for the softness of my skin. And then I put on a little bit of my Master Blur stick from Maybelline because I think that does great things for the pores. So now I think the best way to continue on with this review is just to go ahead and apply the foundation and share how it goes on. So again, you twist off. You've got the big doe foot that does seem to carry quite a bit of product, and I just go ahead and I swipe it primarily around the problem zones, you know, the nose, the top of the cheeks for me anyway. And then once I've done that, there's very little remaining on the doe foot, so I'm back for more. And that might be a little more than I need, but I'm gonna dot this across the forehead, maybe a little more down here on the jaw area. Okay, then you can use, of course, whatever brush you want, but I've got my EcoTools 360 that I just reviewed, and I kind of wanted to demonstrate the fact that this is a really good brush for a liquid as well as a cream or stick foundation. That's what it's marketed for if you haven't seen that review yet. It's supposed to be ideal for the stick foundations that have a thicker texture, but it works really, really well, and it gives me a very even application with a liquid too. I can get a very quick buff happening here. Something I like about this foundation that kind of does set it apart from the Maybelline is that it doesn't set too quickly. For example, I had to cut in my editing there while I was putting this on. I got it blended in on this part of my cheek, and then my memory card said full. So I had to stop, delete a few things off the memory card, and then go back and blend out this cheek, and nothing was clinging already or setting down, you know, to an unblendable place. Because there are some foundations out there, I'm thinking Revlon Color Stay, that YSL Longwear foundation, I haven't used that in a little while, but there's some things out there, you know, that you put them on and you need to get cracking on the blending, and this I don't feel like forces you to do that. So for ease of use with this foundation, I would definitely rate that pretty high. Now, is what I put on full coverage? I think it's really close, I do, because I feel like even on areas where I do have some darkness that tends to come through on my skin or some redness, it's almost fully covered. It's really close to what Superstay does, but not quite there with this initial application. So now I'm going to show you the buildability of it, which is where I feel I am able to achieve full coverage. See, I would just go for a little bit more right here. I might even add a little more to the under eye area. And I don't think I even need any more around the nose, but this is just the one zone. We all have our places on our skin, right, where we feel like, okay, that's my trouble spot, or that's where I'll always look to see if whatever I put on covered it up. And now I feel like I'm there. Like I could kind of leave it at that and not even feel the need to apply any additional concealer over this look. And that's when I feel I'm at a true full coverage place, when it's sort of a concealer optional skin. I'm gonna get out my little bit smaller size of my EcoTools brush for right in here. And we'll see what this does for the dark circle, because you could probably see that that was still there, you know, before I put on this extra layer of stuff. This, to me, is full coverage where we're at now. Now that I built it up a little bit, if you're wondering how much additional product did she put on when she went back for more, I would say it was just a portion of what was on that doe foot applicator, not everything that was sitting on it. And now I feel really smooth. I do feel matte. I don't really notice any dewiness or shine on my skin. I do not have any texture that is the least bit dewy on the skin either. And what's odd to me is that while I feel like the Maybelline sort of sets down a little quicker on your skin, like I might feel the need to blend a little faster because, ooh, I don't want it to start clinging to certain areas, but I do achieve amazing coverage with this right off the bat. But it leaves a little bit more of a texture that I feel obligated to set. Not like dewy and sticky, but just a little bit more of a creamy feel on the skin. And now that the Conceal and Define is blended in all over, I just feel kind of velvety smooth. Nothing feels tacky at all. It feels super lightweight, but I've still worn this with a full-on like set face, deliberately set all over with powder. And then the other day I thought, okay, I'm only going to use that little setting powder in my Needs palette, and I'll just do that on the under eye and the T-zone, and we'll see how it goes. It still lasted really, really well. So to this point, I mean, I feel like the packaging style and just the method of getting it out of the bottle, I prefer the pump overall. Full coverage in one application. I think Superstay hits that mark best, but I just have to apply a little bit more of the Revolution to feel like I have gotten there. So I think the buildable claim stands, and in terms of just feel all over the skin, I think the Revolution definitely wins where that's concerned, because it feels light. It feels just kind of like I'm touching my own skin, not like I have a thick, heavy product on there. Also, I think this is a little better for the ease of application and just not having to feel like you have to blend too quickly, like anything's gonna set down real fast on your face. That was very simple. And what I'm very pleased to report is that I've had very, very similar staying power with both of these. This Superstay has amazing wear time on me, and this does too. I mean, I didn't even get like a broken down T-zone the other day when I was wearing this, but I'm gonna continue to keep you updated on this day with a wear test too. This has not been a first impression video, but just to give you an example of a day and how it looks at the end. Here is my finished face now that I'm done with everything else. I thought I'd point out a couple of the things from my little haul that I got. I mean, I was digging deep into their website and I found this thing, the Revolution Pro Regeneration Trends Celestial palette. And the tones in here looked like very bejeweled and fun, but a lot of like kind of marbly baked looking shades in here. So today I'm wearing this one called Transit and Parameter and Orbital. Those are the shades I have kind of in my crease. And then this color called Astronomy. It's sort of a cool purple. I patted that on the lid just a little bit. This is my first time using using this palette, so there's a lot I haven't played with, but I just kind of wanted a soft look on the eyes today. And then Imogen's highlighting palette is what I have on the rest of my face. Isn't that cool packaging? What did I use? Literally as my contour and limited edition as my highlight, and I just used a little bit of this shade, the lightest, just matte powder on my T-zone. I didn't really set up the whole face, but I don't feel, you know, sticky or tacky. I didn't really feel like the foundation demanded that, and the other day I had great staying power, only setting it in that capacity with my Needs palette, and I thought it was great. But anyway, I do want to take you through a wear test and really assess how this is looking as the day goes on. But I did want to chat a little bit about skin types, because I think there is maybe a little more richness and perhaps a bit more moisture in the Maybelline Superstay formula. I mean, feel free to sound off in the comments section with what your skin type is, and if you've tried either of these, which one works better. But what's kind of odd to me about the Maybelline is that I feel like it is a little bit quicker to set on the skin, but overall there is seemingly a little more moisture, and my skin has the feeling of a bit more thickness and moisture after this is on. This is a little bit lighter. It feels kind of velvety smooth on the skin. I know this is an oil-free foundation, by the way, but I am really impressed with how I felt I was able to get to the full coverage place while building this product upon itself, and it still just kind of feels like nothing on my skin. So I think that's a pretty impressive feature about this. And no, I am under no obligation to talk about this product, to feature this product, because Makeup Revolution made my palettes. It was my choice to purchase it when it was launched. I think I'm naturally kind of intrigued because I do like the concealer, and just the interest and questions that I've gotten from viewers here. I was happy to just be your guinea pig on this one. And there obviously are pros and cons, and foundation is really tricky. What works for one person, another skin type may not love so much. But on my skin, a normal skin type, I feel like it has had pretty consistent results as far as staying power and just the overall look and finish on the skin. I think it's very natural. So we'll see you soon in some check-ins. Hey everybody, different shirt, same day. You understand, stuff gets spilled, messy, etc. But this is now, I think, about 8 hours in on the wear of this foundation, and I have not touched it up a bit. I have sweat today. It's been hot. Summer really has not left us, I guess. I want to think it's fall, but it's not. And I feel like I might be picking up a little bit of shine on my nose, but at the same time, to touch it, the texture of it does not feel like super dewy or anything. The whole texture of my face, just the way everything feels, feels about the same as it did when I started. My lip color is definitely gone. My eyeshadow is still hanging in there, and so are my lashes. But yeah, I would say so far so good on the foundation. So now we're looking at about 12 hours of wear, and I don't really see much difference from the last update. Hi, Biddy. Who you got there, Biddy? It's hard to say, but I'm not sure if I've gotten a little more shiny on the nose, but still the texture of my skin, even to touch it, it does not feel like a grease ball, so that's great. And also keep in mind, this has been with very, very minimal setting powder. You know, I just used that light tone powder in the Imogen contour palette, and even that was pretty much just confined to the T-zone, so I'm really impressed. I've used this foundation a handful of other times, and this has been consistent with my experiences that I've had then as well. Today, I think I put it through the most, probably because I was sweating this morning for sure at the preschool drop-off. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was informative. Please let me know your feedback in the comments, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.